Welcome to the Everyday GSD podcast. Today's special guest, Phil Stockton.
It's me.
How you doing, Phil?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today, Darin?
I'm doing excellent. So, as you know, this podcast is about everyday GSD, and
sir.
I asked you to be on the podcast because you are a true definition of a person who every day gets shit done.
I like to think so.
Yeah, and I think anyone that's watching this, maybe if you're a listener and you're listening to it, you can't see Phil sitting across from me. But if you're watching this, you can see that he doesn't really skip the gym days much.
You know, I literally live in the gym.
Yes.
Being an owner, small business owner, you have no choice in my mindset. Then you're going to be there. It's the demand of the job. It's the demand of anything. Success is based on participation, man. So I participate daily.
Daily, yeah.
Daily.
Yeah, rent's due, right?
That's right.
Rent's due.
They never get me off on that one.
So I want to talk to you today about some of your history.
Sure.
When you started working out, when fitness became part of your lifestyle. But I really think it's important that listeners, most importantly today, get out of some tips and tricks of what you do in your, and full disclosure, I work out with Phil. May not look like it because of the size difference, but again, Phil has done some phenomenal work in our community in Indiana.
Thank you.
With younger people, children who let's say need a little extra guidance, and we can talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
But most importantly, people who just want to get back in shape or in better shape. And as I talk about in my book, Everyday GSD Lifestyle, getting things to the level that you want them to be. And I really think you're a perfect example of that.
Thank you.
Across the board. So you started working out when you were like probably 1 year old?
Yeah, you know, it's been an experience.
No, but for real, like,
yeah,
I mean, were you a fat kid or?
Yeah,
I mean,
I was. I kind of was in that, like any kid, I kind of get into that growth spurt probably before like 5th and 6th grade where the chubby started coming on.
Okay.
And 7th and 8th grade kind of went through the growth spurt.
Okay.
But that was kind of I didn't have a lot of experience, right? We had an old bench up in the attic, and for like a summer of growth, probably between my going into either my 7th, 8th or 9th, kind of that freshman time, I grew.
Right.
But that was also the time I started lifting weights. You know,
This is in Iowa, right?
in Iowa.
Okay.
God's country, if you've never heard of it.
Yeah, corn-fed motherfuckers out there.
That's what we do there. Keep shoveling it in, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, the only thing I ever did was bench press and curl. Because, you know, I was like the Arnold Schwarzeneggers of the world, like big chest, big arms.
Yeah.
Those are the two motions that I knew how to do well.
Right.
And so there was a big difference. My body responded real well. At the same time, I was in high school athletics, you know, man. So we played football. I played basketball, and then I came home every day.
You played basketball?
Actually, basketball is more my sport.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
man. I was the walk up, dunk it, two-handed, you could do any dunk you want to see kind of guy. That was about 60 pounds ago, but, you know, we'll give or take that. Gravity has taken its toll on me.
Yes, both of us, my friend.
Right?
Both of us.
But, you know, in the community I grew up in, it was a farming community. So after you practiced, you went home and did chores.
Right.
So there was no choice but to, I guess, have a little bit of strength, or you were developing.
Right.
You had to have endurance. So
blue-collar work, hard work.
Man, I mean, that's I would never trade where I grew up and the discipline and things we had to learn to do. But that's kind of what is also going into a young adult to being where I'm at now. It's how me had success. And again, consistency. You'll hear me say it no matter what you want to do, you know. That being said, I really probably didn't get even real serious with resistance training probably till I was in my 20s.
Okay.
And I would say
the girls watching right now.
Well, yeah, right.
Are watching, was that last year, Phil?
Right? Slick back hair.
Yeah, looking good.
Right? Again, I responded well. I would definitely say I was lacking in the nutritional department.
Abs are made in the kitchen. I
yeah,
man. Say it all the time.
I was one of those guys that said, well, I'm not built that way. Like I'm built to get big, carry weight. But to lean out, understand just a little bit differences or the little things that make a big difference was a little bit later in my education, because I got tired of feeling like the big fat guy.
Right.
And not that I was solely the fat guy, but just I wasn't caring. I wasn't leaning out.
You weren't leaning out.
No, you know, because I was eating everything into the sun.
Right.
I would work out. I was hungry. Feed the machine, right? So I did.
Right.
For 2 or 3 people or whatever it took.
Yeah.
You know?
What's the heaviest you got, let's say, when you were younger? Because you're what, about 6'6"
6'1",
6'1". Yeah, I
6'2".
feel like you even carry yourself bigger than that. But so you're 6'1".
Excuse me.
What do you think the heaviest you were, like, not in shape?
Not in shape.
Yeah.
Probably never more than like 225, 230.
Okay.
Which is plenty of weight to carry around.
Yeah.
I probably, once I really, to be very honest, I probably didn't get the diet thing locked in till mid 30s.
Okay.
And it really, I had someone else educate me.
So were you the guy at the gym when you were in your 20s that saw Arnold Schwarzenegger poster on the wall? We all saw it. What was Pumping Iron was the movie.
Oh, yeah, Pumping Iron.
Movie.
Watched it like religiously, man.
Yeah, yeah. Were you the guy who watched this and said, you know what, I want to look like him? Or were you the guy that was at the gym and just being like, you know what, I'm going to do, chest and buys every day?
Probably a little bit of both.
Right. Not realizing that he's actually eating a very, very strict diet.
Strict diet. I mean, Pumping Iron's a good example. Because in that movie, they just show them eating all the time. Like, it's like, can I have 6 pounds of this?
I think he smoked a joint, too, in the movie.
18 eggs and then smoke a joint.
I think he did smoke a joint in the movie.
So was it accurate nutrition? No.
The producers over there going, cut. Thanks, Justin.
We're crossing the lines. We're giving you the real behind the scenes facts.
Yeah.
So that's a really good observation, man. Like, a lot of guys can get inspired to want to go to, because who doesn't emulate Schwarzenegger? Like, he's the epitome, right?
Yeah.
I think that's men and women alike. They still see him as that, that golden thing that the goose we're always chasing. But
no pun intended, Gold's Gym.
Right, there we go. And that's the Mecca.
Yeah.
But you saw a dude, again, who didn't show you the discipline. He was just always on top of it, right?
And cocky about it.
And very cocky. He was very confident. He always called it the game, right?
Yeah.
It is a mental game.
Right.
The worst part is I think the most of us play it with ourselves. It's like saying, I can go to the gym, bust my ass, have a great workout. Now I can go to get a couple pizzas and a 6-pack, and I'll be cool. You might get stronger. You might get bigger. It might just not be the bigger you're hoping to get.
Right.
And so that's kind of like you're saying. I've always, growing up as a kid, I can remember going to like the pool, and you'd have your lifeguards up there with the barrel chests, looking all like the fit, man. Like, these were the epitome of being a man. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm a boy, and I'm like, this is not happening. I'm not developing in this way.
As I drink my red wine.
Right. This is merely for health reasons.
Yes.
It's good for the heart. But, finally, I had someone kind of give me, again, a little trick, a little tip here.
Full disclosure, neither of us are doctors.
Ever. Doctor of love doesn't count.
Yeah. Okay, continue.
But once I saw, let's put it this way. I was a guy's like, I'm not going to have abs. I'm not built that way. I'm a farm kid. Like,
right.
Like that we're not meant to have that. And then somebody taught me that you can have that. And it's not even as hard as maybe some of the other things. It's really just cleaning up your food and enjoying what you're putting in your body. Really going back to, if I'm working my ass off in the gym, I want to see those results.
Right.
And so when I started putting the pieces together, I was like, not that it's easy, but it's really not that hard to see a new change. And often when you see change, you start embracing those things a little bit more, bit more. So, you're
seeing positive results.
Exactly.
Positive results give
positive feedback to you to want more.
Right.
Right. Once you get a taste of that sugar a little bit, you just want a little bit more, another bite. That was the piece of the pie that I was looking for, man. And once I kind of put that together, I'd always had people coming, asking me questions or gym related stuff. A lot of my education is really, the background is more physical therapy. So I would kind of come back to that kind of education to teach people stuff in the gym, form, really we'll call it functional training more so.
Okay.
Not that you can't look the part, but it makes me feel good. It makes my body, I'm taking care of myself, right? So going back into that, when I started seeing the other part, like the visual really getting into the change, I was never more excited to take that education to other people.
Right.
But very honest, like I said, I was 35, 36 when I started seeing it happening. And then
you were doing another career.
Yeah.
Prior to being a gym owner, and we don't need to get into that because that wasn't everyday GSD shit. That was basically you working in corporate America.
Correct.
And really, one day you decided, I want to follow my dream.
100%. Right? Well, what I knew or recognized is that when I, being very passionate about this in my personal, I was able to kind of take that when someone would come to me and have a question, we could start digging into some of the things that they were struggling with or overcoming.
Right.
So, you know, if someone was to work with me now, or what's kind of a format that I've always said is, what are your goals? Give me the top 3. And there is no such thing as vanity. I don't care if it's, I just want to look good naked. I want to impress my wife. I want to impress my girlfriend or your wife or whoever,
Husband.
both of them at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
Yeah, my wife hates my girlfriend.
Right? It never goes well for some reason. Once we started putting those things on paper and people going, I can really do that. Yeah. So, you know, we develop a plan, and you would start seeing the goals coming much quicker than people realize they have.
And so we jumped ahead a little bit, and I'm sorry to back it up just because I obviously I've worked out with you for many years on and off, in between injuries, and you've helped me achieve a lot of the goals that I've wanted to do. But so let's go before you're not a gym owner yet. You're just working out. Mm-hmm. You've went through the phase of where you're kind of like the pudgy kid, and now you're in your 20s, and you realize you need to start cleaning up your diet.
Right.
And people are seeing you at the gym. And now at this point, are you a trainer?
You know, I kind of got thrown into that world a little bit, just from saying what was 2008, kind of that recession time hit. Okay. And I got back into the fitness world.
Because you've done competitions too in the past, right?
Correct. Kind of unintentionally. When I got back into that, it made me dig a little bit deeper. Now I'm sort of working with people more on the one-on-one.
Right.
And it's one thing to explain to people your experience and what got you to where you're at. But even if we follow the exact same road, it's not going to look the same to them.
Right.
And the understandings of the things that they think are things that are going to have to overcome, the bumps in the road, if you will.
Right.
So that was a little bit of, in my career, we'll call it my corporate career, dealing with people is what I did every day, and relating to people, and
lots of people,
and how do we scale this back? Because again, my goal is always to help people succeed, because in doing so, I'm doing my job.
Right.
And now I was taking kind of that mindset and started applying it in really a lot more, a different scale, because now I'm putting you in a position where you're not a 9-to-5 or in a corporate position to where this is your day to day. And really what we're doing is trying to create some kind of a lifestyle.
Right.
And so lifestyle.
Everyday GSD.
Everyday GSD.
Right.
So lifestyle is created by habits. So it was like, now let's just start establishing habits. Don't focus on what the goal is, but the things we need to do daily to make these habits stick. I think they say it's like 6 to 8 weeks if you can do something consistently.
But we talk about discipline and motivation. The difference between 100%. Discipline and motivation is you can have motivation to do everything that you want, but if you don't have the discipline to follow up on it, you're going to be eating that ice cream, and then you're going to turn back into a fat fuck.
100%, man.
Right?
And who doesn't want that?
I mean, I like ice cream.
I love ice cream. Man, you put a bowl of mint chocolate chip, I may have to freaking cut off a finger before I'm not going to go for that. But the reality starts going back to, what do you value the most? Do you want to wake up in the morning and go, man, I feel good, I look good, I put in the work, versus like, oh man, I feel kind of bloated, and you're like, you don't look below your belly button line because you don't want to see that little bulge picking out. You know, like the things that we all have, our things where, whether it be our belly or your arms or your back,
love handles,
the things, we always have those places that we look, and then we look away. Right. Because I'm like, it's my personal embarrassment. Yeah. And
no one else might even notice it.
Ever. But it's your own personal thing where when it's stuck in your head, it's going to take a lot to get it out. Yeah. So you're again, goes back to, what are the habits that we're going to do? If this is really nagging at you and you really want change, there has to be somewhat a level probably of accountability. And that's kind of where I come back into it. And man, I will tell you, I'm not militant, but I learned to look for my mother years ago that will tell you I'm not happy. So that's that one. It's like when they come in, like, well, my food hasn't been horrible, so you're comparing yourself to horrible. Thank you. I saw a quick turn.
Well said.
It's bad. My food was good. My food's been better. Yeah. Again, where if we start, even those little things, how we associate things in our brain.
Well, you even had a business, and sorry to jump in on that, and I want you to continue, but you had a business at one point, and I think because of COVID, we had to, when I say we, I stopped using your food service.
The meal prep.
And because COVID, everything was
it changed the world.
And one thing, I don't want to talk about fucking COVID on this show, so we're going to move on from that. But you had a meal prep system.
Correct.
That you would work out with. You would have the individual come and train with you.
Correct.
And you would tell them, okay, if you're all in,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to be all in, but if you
No.
want to be all in, this is what I can do for you.
Correct.
And, and I remember they were very inexpensive. And again, I'm kind of giving you a plug at a business you don't really do anymore, but it doesn't matter because I remember that you were making these meals that were designed for the individual, whether it was high protein, low carb,
Correct.
vegetarian, more vegan style. So you kind of made them for everything. So you took the everyday GSD mentality of, you know what, I can train these individuals that really want results, and then I can send them out and they can go eat shit, and then they're going to come back and say, hey, I still have this, it's not working. So you took the training to another level and said, you know what, if you're all in and want to do this, I can set up a meal program, and you don't have to buy my meals. I can tell you this is what you can go out and cook on your own.
100%.
And I can do it for you for a low cost.
Yep.
And I remember it was low cost because I used to do it because I travel a lot, as you know.
Correct.
And I remember I was getting these meals, and a lot of times when I'd get the meal, I would say, God, this guy's fucking killing me. This is all I'm going to eat, right? Because I'm like, is he trying to starve me?
Right.
And many times I couldn't finish the whole meal,
Right.
Because it was confusing because you're looking at what you like. You can eat 6, 7, 8 pieces of pizza, whatever that is. But when you'd have the proper portions of the food that you would prepare, but I digress a little bit because I really think that just showed me that you weren't in it for someone to just come to the gym and pay you your fee and hope they don't show up. You were
right.
Because I remember specifically some people that were training with you where you would be in the gym and you'd call them and say, hey, you're supposed to be here.
Right.
And a lot of times I would ask you, are you going to charge them for, and you're like, no, I'm not charging them. They're not showing up. I'm like, you're like, but they're charging themselves.
Yeah.
They feel bad.
Yeah. I would much rather put, again, the accountability.
Accountability.
Tough word, right? But no, great point. I just thought if I take a piece of the puzzle away to make it easier, right? I think they say that when a person goes through the drive-through, the average meal is somewhere between $8 to $12. Like whatever the
like fast food
stuff, right? Like if they can say the meal is $4 or $5 or whatever the deal of the day is. But again, it's not enough to feed you and you're hungry, so you order two. I think usually meal cost for us is somewhere between $8 and $10. But it also mirrored exactly what we wanted the nutritional value for you to get.
Right.
And all of a sudden, the calories might be much lower than, let's say, a fast food meal. The biggest issue is, like you said, when you start eating healthy, clean, it's an easy term, you will be surprised how quickly you're filling up because your body's getting good nutrition.
Right. And you feel better.
And you feel better.
And then you look better.
And all of a sudden, these pieces start coming together. And why wouldn't you just do something that's easy? Now, like anything, meal prep gets boring and it becomes monotonous.
Yes, it does.
Right? So one thing that with my company, and I would encourage anyone out there doing this, is we would replicate, like, if you told me like chicken Alfredo, I'm going to make you the closest. Is it chicken Alfredo?
You had a bang bang shrimp? That was
man,
to fucking die
we
for.
had bang bang shrimp. We had a lemon chicken, lemon tilapia.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
We would, again, replicate anything that, again, high protein, moderate carbs, minimal fat. And it was very effective. Now, anymore, I sub all that out. And if anyone ever wants some information, I definitely have some people I would recommend for you. But create the solutions for folks.
Right. Because every problem has a solution.
Every problem has a solution.
Right. And as soon as you recognize every problem has a solution, you don't need to spin around in a fucking circle.
No.
What happens is you realize, you know what? I'm out of shape.
Yes.
So what do I need to do? Do I need to, is my goal to lose 50 pounds? Well, that's an unrealistic goal. Maybe my goal should be lose 5 pounds and then go start working out and go see a trainer, go see someone like you that then will schedule these proper goals with the vision of the individual. And then you'll eventually lose the 50 pounds you want. But if you ask for 50 pounds day one, the first time you get on that scale, and I know you're a firm believer of throw the scale away.
I hate the scale.
I know you do. And let's talk about that for a minute. Women. My wife, who I love, she's always looking at the scale, and she's beautiful, and she doesn't need to look at the scale. She's amazing if she listens to this. So the scale is you out, because I would come in and I would work out with you and I go, hey, I'm X amount of weight. Yeah. And you're like, yeah, but what's your body fat? What's this composition and all that? And, we do the machine because you've got all that equipment, which is amazing.
Correct.
And, I've been to other gyms, by the way, that they charge you per time.
I know, to get on that. That's so crazy to me.
Yeah, I know. And the first time
I want you to succeed, and I need $10 for you to get on the scale.
Yeah, and you know, this is how you get the printout. And the first time I saw yours, I was like, you know, you could be making money off that. And you're like, that's the absolute opposite of what I want to do.
Right.
If I was here to make money, I'd be selling stocks or something.
Right.
You had some funny thing you said. I was like,
I am pretty funny. So
yeah.
Here's my thing. So I have an in-body machine, and which once upon a time I sold my soul, but I thought what was a great investment for the gym.
And I love it, by the way.
Because a scale tells you one thing. It tells you how much your mass is today. Now, we all have stepped on the scale from a day to two, and we'll see maybe a major influx. I mean, I've seen people up and down 10 to 12 pounds in a couple of days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, could be water, could be alcohol, could be I had a ton of carbs. Regardless, unless you know what your body composition, how much muscle you're holding, how much fat you're holding, we'll call it body fat percentage or muscle percentage, you really don't know what you weigh. The biggest thing is, give me an example. I've had people work with me for up to 3 months, right? I had a particular girl, and she lost...
What's her name? Just kidding. She's like, Phil.
She lost 3 pounds, and she was really disappointed and upset, right? But we would measure her, and from head to toe, she lost 11 inches. That's a lot of inches, right?
That's a lot of inches.
But what we also found,
she gained muscle.
We gained muscle.
Lost unwanted weight.
Unlost body fat, not her. So her muscle went up, but the body fat went down. So the percentage didn't change as much as we were hoping, like a 10 or 20 pound change, which again doesn't mean anything because we can have a 10 pound weight shift of water in a couple days. So yes, the scale is one tool. But you have to, don't let the scale dictate your happiness, because I've had people who have came in after months and they know they've never looked better. In the mirror, they're happy.
Jeans fit better, dress fits better,
clothes fit better.
Everything fits better.
They're
get on a
thrilled.
scale and they're like, wait a minute, I'm 10 pounds heavier.
I'm heavy.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
What did I do? And just see the faces drop. And I'm like, whoa. Let's back
Well,
up.
you know, I used to own a couple CrossFits
Yep.
on the East Coast, right?
Right.
And there was this girl, and I'll mention her because she's a phenomenal athlete. And actually now her and her fiance, they own the CrossFit, and they might have gotten married. I should know that. I don't think they have, but Stacy Kroon's her name. She was
I've heard you.
yeah, she was a CrossFit athlete, and she's a phenomenal athlete.
Yep.
I mean, like CrossFit Games back in the day when CrossFit
She's
was
on
like
it.
she's on it, right?
Yeah.
And I remember going up to her one day. We were doing an event at the CrossFit, and people were getting weighed in for something. And I just went to her and I go, I know you never ask a girl how much you weigh. But I'm curious, how much do you weigh? And she had no problem. She knew exactly. And I'm not going to say the weight because if she ever watches this, she's like, can't believe you said that now, right? But
How
she
much?
knew. I'll tell you, she was like 155 pounds.
Yeah.
But you know what? She looked like a fucking supermodel,
Right.
that could crush the fucking weights.
Right.
And I can tell you, everyone in the gym that worked out with her knew she was a beast.
Right.
And she looked fucking good.
Yeah.
And in our mind,
Yes.
this is it, right? In our mind, we go, 155 pounds, you know, and I'm not talking 6'8", or I mean,
Right.
I'm not talking like, 6'5", whatever.
Right.
I'm talking like, you know,
She's not runway.
yeah. But you know, she was in phenomenal physical condition, but she was not, from my understanding, she wasn't a girl who got on a scale and worried about that. The scale she worried about is she going to crush a 350 pound deadlift,
Right.
so she can make it to the next competition. Yep. And Aaron Landis, her fiance, boyfriend, husband, again, I should know this. Lando, he's a guy like you, phenomenal condition.
Yeah.
And he's another guy but he kind of yo-yoed every once in a while, you
Sure.
know, but that's what happens, you know, because your body gets hurt and you're broken, and then you start eating unhealthy.
Yeah.
But he would come back all the time, and we used to call him Superman. The guy was a beast, but he was never a guy that said, "Yeah, I can't believe I weigh 232 pounds."
Right.
It's just like, yeah, this is what I do. I crush the weights, and I
you
feel
know,
good about it.
It's such a real thing. And even, you know what, it's for men just the same.
Yeah.
And it usually goes back to once upon a time. I mean, dude, I'm 48 years old, young.
You're 48.
Yeah, I know, right? Can you believe that?
Ooh, no.
It's the red wine. It's a supplement. That I used to weigh X, and I thought I looked great. So it's hard not to have that number that's once upon a time in your head.
When I was in college, when I was in high school, when I was in the military.
Do you know how many women I have, and they go, well, you know, before I had kids, I weighed 110 pounds. And I'm like, that's a great story. Your kids are 40 years old now. So let's not worry about this 110 number anymore.
Yeah, this 110's not coming back.
I have a couple of great examples. I have a gal who's 50, and she looks great. She's been training with me for a couple of years. And again, for her, this is a lifestyle. It's consistency. But we still get stuck on when I weighed X, 110 pounds. When I was, again, this is 20 some years ago.
Right.
Her body fat's never been lower. Her muscle's never been higher. And again, let me tell you, ladies, just because you have a high body muscle percentage does not mean that you're big and bulky. You can't get any bigger and bulky unless the food you're putting in your body. As a matter of fact, I have a gal right now who's 45 years old, has been weight training really for the first time in her life for just about a year now. She has gained 18 pounds. She's a very petite girl. She weighed 115 pounds when she came in. So now she's closer to 130.
This is this girl I'm thinking of?
Yeah. You thinking of Tracy?
I wasn't going to say a name. Yeah.
Since I just said it, Tracy. Tracy has worked her butt off and just followed the plan.
Yeah.
She's smaller, petite, she has more natural curves. Tracy was a runner. Anytime she saw that scale over 115 pounds, she's out on the road, man. If that was like 116 or 115 and 0.4, she's going to run till that comes off. Sweat, blood, tears, it doesn't matter. All she did was just dehydrate herself.
So anyone listening to this, the message right now, specifically what we're talking about is throw the fucking scale away.
Throw the scale away.
Throw the fucking scale away.
If anything, your clothes are the best measurement tool you'll always have.
Right.
And don't worry. Just look in the mirror.
What about the stretchy pants?
I mean, the stretchy pants look good, mostly.
Yeah, mostly.
And you take them off, and you see the stretches.
Yeah.
Stretch markers. Yeah. So, again, not to get too much on one trick pony, but remember there are other ways to measure success. And the scale is probably, on a scale of 1 to 5 things, it's probably number 5 at the bottom.
Right. So you're now, because we kind of jumped ahead, but you're in shape, you're working out all the time, and you start taking classes and you get certified because you have a bunch of you don't have a doctor next to your name, but boy, you have a bunch.
Anymore.
You have a bunch of those letters next to your name. So you have a bunch of certifications.
Yeah.
And you'd go out to. I remember one time you were out in California, or Las Vegas for some fitness training.
Yeah, I did I like to get. I'm a sports guy still. And I'm a Titleist Pro certified fitness trainer.
Okay.
And which that means is...
Get you a bag of shit when you want to go to the grocery store?
Yeah. I'm not here to change your swing and to teach you how to swing, but I'm here to put your body in position to make you an improved player.
Oh, okay.
And that's where a lot of guys, again, they go to a swing coach, they take lessons from a pro, but they don't address the lack of strength, usually through your core, your back, your glutes, hamstrings. Those things make a huge difference. And I love working with the golf guys. They're kind of fun because it's something a little bit different. But the truth is we still go back to a lot of the fundamentals of basic functional weightlifting to strengthen those things out. With a lot of times, again, a real focus on flexibility and mobility. So it's really just...
because you're not just training people. And I know because I've been to your training facility. You emphasize on mobility, core strength, weights, and variable workouts.
Correct.
Meaning for anyone listening, changing things up.
Yeah.
And for me, that's important because especially my being prior military, as you know, we were constantly training.
Yep.
So a lot of times I go to the gym with you. And I want to do something that physically my body can't do anymore because of injuries. And you go, no problem.
Yep.
We'll do this. And I'm getting the same positive results from doing that workout without the negative of the pain.
Yeah. That there's a real broad response to that is really there's just so many different ways to skin a cat, right?
Right.
Too often.
Not a real cat.
Not a real. There'll be no real cat skinning.
Not a real cat.
I would never do that today.
You do have 2 cute little dogs.
I'm an avid animal lover.
What kind of dogs do you have?
I have Chihuahuas too, Willie and Nelson.
It is funny because you are a large human.
Not small.
Not small.
Fit through most doorways.
And you have 2 little doggies, and they are at the gym.
It's true.
Every single day.
Every day.
And sometimes they go out in where you do the boot camp area, and they put on a show.
They'll do. They are characters.
They are in shape.
They are runners.
And they always greet me at the door,
And
which I enjoy.
The number one thing, there's definitely going to be days that you do not want to come through that door to see me. And I tell you what, when the dogs are, that's crazy. They recognize the clientele and they know everybody's personality a little bit different and they respond to everyone a little different. But they are going to make you feel welcome before you see me. They're like the warm-up crew, right? Nellie typically is the lover, the empath, and she's there for you going like,
on my
man,
chest when I'm doing that.
You're going to hate this.
Yeah.
And Willie's going to be the security. Yeah. He's a little more timid. He's going to bark at you. He's a little bit more of the militant one of us, if you will. But they're going to keep you honest.
Yeah, and that's good to know for anyone who in the future goes and sees Phil at his facility, which we'll talk about that.
They're an added bonus.
They're an added bonus.
Free cost.
Yeah. So you're working out. Your goal is to, in life, your goal is to make other people's lives better. What is your
my mantra
or your passion or your what's calling you?
You know, man, that's a great question.
Figured I'd put you on the spot.
Yeah, right. Just to be very honest, I have always been blessed to be put in a role where I could learn, and I ended up working with people who are probably just straight up smarter than me and have given me a little bit of mentorship.
Oh, I'm the first one to say I am not the smartest guy in the room, and I love to have people in the room smarter than me. Because you know what? Sponge.
Right?
Tell me more.
Exactly.
Tell me more.
There's a reason where they say that you are a product of the 3 people that you hang around with the most.
Right.
So if that's the case, man, I want to be something high level.
Right.
That being said,
that's everyday GSD shit.
Everyday
right there.
GSD, man. You got to learn something more to be a little bit better each day.
Right.
And that's what I'm hoping really to instill in others. I might have people come in to my facility who have had success, wealth in many different arrays in their life. But the gym may not be one, and there might be a lack of confidence, or they've tried to make up for that with other personality traits or whatnot.
Right.
And what I really look at someone as, again, we all are a work in progress, but what can I help you do?
Has anyone ever come into your gym and you're like, you know what? I don't want to train you. You don't have the drive, the passion. You're wasting my time. You're wasting your time. Or do you, or is that after once you put the time and effort into it?
So
does that make sense? That question?
Oh no. So have I ever had to fire a client?
Oh, I already know that answer.
I've let some people work through the process.
Right.
And usually those people they work themselves out of the process, if you will. Dude, my calling, my purpose in this world, this life, my faith, my God has always told me, you're here to help someone else.
Right.
Yeah. I've had enough people pass along those kind of blessings to me, whether it be financially, in the gym, to help me learn. I want to give back to other people. And that's when I feel the best. The money's great, making a great living. I love the fact that I own something, that I control something.
And you didn't always own the gym.
No, that's not true. That's exactly true.
Yeah.
I've had to been in situations where I've been in a gym that I was an owner with, that I let go, and then I came back. And
because the gym that you have now, I'll say this in my version, you've rebranded it, you've restructured it, and you've bought tons of new equipment, and it's a phenomenal training facility. But it was a good place when you were, because you were working there with the individual that owned it.
Yeah.
And then she ended up relocating.
Yes.
And then you reached out to her and said, hey, listen, you're not here.
Yeah.
I'd like to have this opportunity. And you guys agreed, and you end up buying her out.
Correct.
And she's known in the fitness world. She's, I believe, down in Florida.
Yeah, excellent person, man.
Yeah, good human.
Jessica Campbell, man, I tell you, I owe her a lot. And again, it comes back to being put together by the right people. We'll call it the hand of God, whichever works for you. Definitely got put back into the right spot. And someone who also, I think we share a similar passion, and saw that in me as well. Because for her, it was kind of her baby to let it go. I'd approached her a couple times about buying her out, and she wasn't interested. And it wasn't anything I felt like I needed to push, but I think we both got to a place where, hey, man,
it was the right time.
This made sense.
Right.
It's really funny. That happened, and a month later, COVID happened. And we're not going to talk much about it, but it was like,
we're not going to talk about it at all,
wow.
actually.
But that being said, because I think I followed through with what the plan was intended for me,
right,
I've had nothing but success since that point.
Right.
We've never been busier. We have a great client base who continues to.
How many trainers do you have?
We have 4 trainers on staff, and then we've got a couple people right now who are looking to join our team more as a subcontractor, which, you know, we will definitely fit the mold for whatever works for somebody. My biggest thing is, again, give people opportunity, man. If I can help you grow, to help you start your own business, please. I mean, that's, what do they say? A good mentor knows someday the people you're mentoring are going to leave.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of person I want to be, because that's kind of where I was. Somebody took me under the wing, gave me a lot of information, a lot of education.
But it's hard work, right?
It is hard
work. I mean,
work.
you get up every day and, you know, you've got your dogs, you take your dogs out, you pack your food for the day, you pack your protein and all that stuff, and you have a bunch of that stuff at the gym. I know, I've seen it.
Yeah.
And then
when you live there, you keep it there.
Yeah, and then you show up, and then you unlock the doors, and then from the time you're there to the time you leave, sometimes 10 hours, sometimes 12 hours, you constantly have people in there all day long, sometimes 2, 3, 4 at a time.
All day long.
Because you're a personal trainer, which is often different than, you know, training a class of 25 people.
Yeah.
You give a specific attention to the individuals.
Yeah, you know, and that's kind of goes back to what we talked about.
Plus, you don't miss a workout.
No. Well, when you're the walking billboard, you got to hold it.
Yeah, you're the advertisement.
I mean, really, I set a standard, and I don't mean that by any means cocky, but the people there look at me as
confident.
Exactly. They want to come into the same thing. There is a respect there. And again, when you're giving direction to someone that you respect, you tend to work a little harder.
Right.
We do one-on-one training, but what I really found a lot of success happening is that we might have 2 people in at the same time, up to 3 maybe. We'll call it.
And when you say the same time, training specifically with you, because I've seen times where you're training 2 or 3, but then you have another trainer training 1 or 2.
Exactly.
So there could be 6 or 7 or 8 people in
the gym at once
in the training center.
Yeah.
So, and I like to call it a training center.
That's
because you have a lot of things in there that I would say a gym doesn't have. And for me, as someone who,
we're definitely not a gym once you think of a typical gym setting.
Right. Yeah. So I think I wanted to clarify that for anyone listening, because I think it's important that there's different types of gyms to go to.
Yes.
And you know what? They're all good in some format. You know, Planet Fitness makes their money for you not showing up. We all know that. That you pay $10 a month, and there's a reason why that equipment always looks new.
And there's an expectation, and it's not high.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. I struggle if you're bringing pizza in for your clientele. Great plan. We're definitely going to keep you coming back until you cancel, right?
And this is true, people.
Right? And not to get too sidetracked and knock on them, but
I know.
But it kind of goes back to, like we're saying, it's, if you're training with me, you have a specific routine or whatever we're doing for that day, whatever the goal reflects.
Well, what motivates you to continue to keep working out? Because I want people that are listening to go, well, first of all, if you're listening, you can't see Phil.
Yeah.
And if you're watching, you can see Phil's clearly in shape. And I do have a little joke I want to share with everyone. So I'm working out with Phil. I don't know. This is like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. And I said, Phil, you keep skipping leg day, bro, because your legs are so small. And so
small.
Yeah. So I want to share. Let me finish before you interrupt here, because this is important. So anyway, so he goes, all right, let's do legs. So we're going to do legs together. And fortunately, I played hockey my whole life. So I do have strong legs compared to the rest of my body. And I can throw some really good weights around with my legs because, a hockey player, right? And, I've done a lot of working out with my legs. So I throw the weights on, and little leg guy next to me comes up. And you don't realize his legs are actually not little.
They're not little.
They're not actually little. But let me say this real quick. So I think I put I'm going to say 4 plates on the machine. And I did my workout a little bit. And then you went on and you put 2 more on. And then you banged out 20. And I was like, looking at your legs, and I was like, he does not have little legs. What he has is a large body that's just completely in shape. And I'm looking at his legs compared to the rest of his body.
Right.
And he's lifting twice as much weight as me. And his legs actually are big legs, and they are good size. It just...
I'm tall.
Yeah, you're tall.
I'm taller.
So we joked about that. And I was like, do you do legs? And you're like, let's do legs. And we did legs. I couldn't walk for a week, for the record. I couldn't sit down on a toilet.
I skipped home, for the record, just to say. Lunged all the way home.
So anyone who wants to know if Phil does legs, he does do legs, and don't challenge him to do legs.
You know what? I like anyone, I don't enjoy it, but it's necessity.
Actually, I love doing legs.
I know.
And you know that.
It's necessity for me. I always say, man, doing legs keeps your belly off too.
Yeah.
I mean, big muscles burn big calories.
Yeah.
It kind of like even saying that kind of goes back to the individual. When you come work with me, depending on what you're trying to do, I will let you know exactly the plan.
Right.
So you have to follow the plan. And,
right.
And you may be there working out with a couple other folks, but you're not following their plan. Their plan is completely individualized to the specific goals of the person.
So my friends in California are listening that clearly aren't going to come work out with you
No.
at your gym here. What do you tell them to be part of this everyday GSD style that you have? And I say that because obviously that's the name of the podcast.
Yeah.
But you truly are a definition of someone who gets shit done on a daily basis.
Thank
You enjoy life. You go out and have fun. You love concerts. You love music. But you're not missing the workout, and you're eating healthy. And when you do slip up or slide out, you know you're doing that because you're choosing to do that.
100%.
You're going to have a couple drinks. Obviously, you're having some wine today,
man.
but you're still going to be at the gym tomorrow.
Yeah. I think it just goes back to life balance. And again, what does that mean?
Balance.
Yeah, man. And that's so like anyone, summertime, once I learned I could have abs, I like seeing my abs in the summer. But again, I also like having some time on the boat and maybe a couple cocktails.
Right.
And when I'm having on the boat and a couple cocktails, I'm not going to eat a pound of chicken that day or fish or whatnot. I'm going to have some pizza. I'm going to enjoy my life. But it comes also balance. Where do I feel good on the daily? And I think we can all say, especially as we age, we start seeing some of those extracurriculars kind of fall to the wayside.
Right.
Or even the simple, you know what? I tell all my clients, if you come and work with me, do you drink? I've never said one time, well, you got to stop drinking. I've never said one time, you can't have ice cream. You can't have this. But I will tell you, you won't get what you want in near the timeline, or you might not get exactly what you're desiring by focusing on what you're taking away from versus what you're going to get.
Right.
Again, it goes back to what am I focusing on? I'm focusing on, man, he's going to take this away, or no, he's providing me a new path to the things I've always desired.
Right.
And when you can start even, let's just say you go 70-30 towards what you really desire. Even let's just go 50-50 and just start making changes.
Right.
When we see physical changes, how many times have we taken a pill that's the new fat burner or the new thing that's on the market?
It was on the Shark Tank.
Right? Shark. It's got to be real.
It's got to be real.
Man, I took it for 3 months and nothing happened. Well, what else did you do? Well, I had donuts and pizza and beer.
I did the same old shit.
Yeah, I did the same thing I was doing every day. If you looked at the fine print, it said exercise and diet. Again, diet doesn't mean what you're not putting in your mouth. It means what you are putting in your mouth. That's what your diet is.
Right.
Doesn't mean you have diet doesn't even mean restriction. But a lot of times we think of it that way, going, man, I'm not going to have alcohol. I'm not going to be able to have fun. Summer's going to suck, so I'm not doing it summer. I'll wait till fall. Well, then fall comes football season, and I want to go to the Colts game, and I want to have pizza and beer and donuts.
My friends that are Patriot fans right now just shut this podcast off.
Just shut it all off,
The
right?
fucking Colts.
Fucking Colts, man.
The fucking Colts.
So you get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it really goes back to you can have a very healthy lifestyle. You may not look like the guy on the cover of Muscle and Fitness,
And not many people do, though.
and again,
That's the thing.
A lot of those guys they don't look that way 24/7. They get
Right.
prepped and they airbrush and they do things to make them look really good. Otherwise, we wouldn't buy the fucking magazine, right?
Right.
There's no
It's
desire.
a business, people.
Right.
Yeah.
So feel good about you. Get
Yeah.
to where you just feel healthy. And then if you want to try to do something a little bit more, be realistic.
Right.
And if someone comes in with some really lofty goals, I'm not going to chop those down, but what I am is going to tell you the timeline it's going to look like for something that's probably really happen.
Right.
And again, depending on what you're willing to compromise or give up, changes the timeline as well.
Right.
Again, the commitment that you put forward is exactly what you will get in return.
Right.
If you give me a 50-50 commitment,
You're going to get 50%.
you're going to get 50% back.
Yeah.
And you'll probably be happy with 50%, but even, 50% doesn't mean that so I can go party and vacay. I mean, this is lifestyle, baby.
Right.
Like party and vacay doesn't mean every weekend I give up all the 5 days I just worked out for 2.
Because it's going to go to shit.
Because
Right?
it'll go to shit, right?
Yeah.
You're giving it back. I always tell people, would you go crazy, bad food, bad diet, bad drinks, it doesn't show up on the scale for at least 2 days. And if you had just, we'll call it marginally bad shit, 2 pounds, you're going to get a minimum of 2 pounds up. It's going to take 2 more days for those 2 pounds. So let's say Saturday night, you go out. It doesn't show up to the scale till Monday. So now I feel bad. So now for the next 2 days, I'm gonna starve myself, which is the absolute wrong. I don't eat anything, and then the scale kind of goes back down. And then let's say by Thursday, it's almost down, and Friday it looks good, and I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm working out, and when I get done, you want to meet me at the bar? Because I want tequila shots. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go with you. But it's going to be one of those days I always tell people, when you go out with your trainer, none of your calories count. That day it does.
Yeah.
Because you got to get ready for the weekend, friend.
Yeah. True statement,
Right.
for sure. So what about people that come in with injuries?
Great question. I mean, that's kind of how we met, right? We
A long time ago.
long time ago. You'd had some shoulder stuff,
Yeah.
and we were meeting each other and kind of hitting it off, and good conversation. And then we started getting into, well, I got this problem. Started telling me about your shoulders, and I just had a little bit different we'll call it tempo technique, to where, let's be real, you're a guy that was used to pushing. You're used to pushing with your legs, CrossFit style, working PR, as many as we can do in a time. And I had to go away from everything you were doing.
Yeah.
Right? Because that was kind of your set. That's how you were measuring success.
Right.
And so we went away from everything you were doing to give you a new focus on what meant success. Feeling good, pain-free.
Yeah.
Man, I got muscle pump. I'm sore in my muscles, and I don't just hurt.
Yeah.
I can't operate for a couple of days, because we know if your shoulders hurt, you're not doing anything with your chest. You're not doing anything with your back.
Yeah.
The other small muscles, it's just very compromising in what you're able to do. And so you're in there doing legs all the time.
Yeah.
And that's, come on. Eventually,
But I like legs.
Eventually that gets old. Then I don't see you for a month. Like, you're traveling. I'm like, how's those legs coming? We better get back at it. You know what I mean? All that to be said, I tell anyone, if you are having a serious issue, make sure you talk to a doctor, just to make sure that the structure, maybe around a joint, is good.
Well, when you say that, because, obviously I've talked to several doctors with my shoulder, and we talked about this earlier about me getting stem cell treatment down in Panama, because unfortunately I couldn't do the stem cell in the U.S. because it's not approved here.
Yeah.
But I went down to Panama, and I did the injections in both shoulders. I did the IV for 3 days, and I feel like $1 million fucking bucks, right? And the doctor wanted to have surgery. They wanted to cut everything out of my shoulder, drill my shit into my bone.
Yeah.
6 months wearing this, makeshift cast / sling.
Yeah.
I'll be out for a year, and then as soon as that's better, do the other one. And we were in there, and there was a friend of ours that works out with you, a doctor, chiropractor, and he was saying, you should talk to someone else, right? And
Agree.
And I did talk to it was actually the doctor that was, I won't say his name, the doctor that was saying I needed surgery or was recommended surgery is a very well-known sports doctor.
Yeah, I mean, very well respected.
Very well respected. But it's a business.
It is a business.
And I can tell you, I went down to Panama, and I feel fucking great.
Yeah.
It's the best I've felt in a long time. I have full mobility, and I can't tell you results for anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I can only talk to myself. I am not a doctor. I cannot tell you.
You just play one on a podcast.
I just play one on a podcast. But I can tell you the results that I've had, and you've seen my mobility.
Man.
I came into the gym today and saw you, and I just showed you some movements that I can do, and
things I haven't seen ever.
And this is, and I just got back,
Actually,
a week or so ago, and they're telling me that my results are going to be within a month to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So the results I'm having right now are, I don't want to say more advanced, they're better than anticipated.
Mm-hmm.
And if this is as good as I'm going to get, it's a fucking home run.
Yeah.
And it just drives me crazy that the medical world pushes surgery immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've had these issues since the military.
Right.
Some knee issues, shoulder issues, blah, blah, blah. It's not about me right now. But I think that when I would go see you, obviously you're not a physical therapist.
No.
But your ability to change the workouts to see what the actual injury is made me be able to articulate to the doctor, or when I would go somewhere and say, this is what's wrong with my injury.
Yeah.
This is what's the problem. This is what I think is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a lot that, a trainer, and I go quote unquote, because I feel like you're more than a trainer. You're a mentor. You do a lot of good things.
Yeah, thank you.
But I think that there's so much more that you train people and educate people on a daily basis. When they come in and see you for an hour, they didn't just do a bunch of squats.
No. I mean, again, that's
and that
it's
goes
not
back
going to reflect any goal, most likely.
Right.
Unless you want to have no one has ever come to me and say, I want to squat 500 pounds.
Right.
That's never been the goal.
Yeah. And that goes back to the everyday GST
Yeah.
lifestyle, getting shit done. You know, that one of our friends wants to have her nephew come and see you.
You're
And,
right.
you know, I think he's 15 years old. And, you know, you didn't, your answer before you even heard anything that the rest of that came out of her mouth, you said, sure, no problem. Have him come in.
Yep.
I got it.
Yeah.
And
I love that. Like,
Yeah.
I love getting that
you
opportunity.
love helping people that you know you can make a difference in their life.
Yeah. And, you know, I got to be honest. I've just followed the mentors who, when I was that age and I needed someone beside a parent that to give me some guidance. And, you know, at that age.
Well, I thought you were going to get emotional there. I was like, oh,
the pause.
We're going to get a little.
You got a Kleenex or something?
Yeah, we're going to get a little. We're going to get a little teary here.
I have been fortunate to get a lot of kids somewhere in that 15 to 18, whether they're going into a collegiate sport, either to help them get into a position to be getting a scholarship, or they have a scholarship but they know they need to improve, help just strength, symmetry, different things. And some of it's just basic education, man. You know, like you asked earlier, I probably really didn't even get into the weight thing till I was like 15 years old, and it was real basic stuff that somebody kind of showed me, but I needed more. So now that I at least have the background and the education, or even call it the science behind it, versus, and also the fact of just having an understanding, this kid needs confidence. How do we build a confidence? Confidence isn't in how much I can do. It's doing it right and being, whether it's just a verbal affirmation or a verbal reward, and just saying, yeah, man, this is where it's at. Starting them at a place where you can start growing off of those cornerstones, if you will, sets such a difference in the attitude. And you'll see the kids explode into, again, not having to be the strongest kid, but, you know, fortunately I've worked with kids, let's say over the last 5 years, young adults, that when they come and they leave, I treat them like a young adult.
Right.
I have expectations of them. I don't want to have to repeat what I'm doing every time. You should start showing me.
Well, I like what you said the other day to our friend, and you said almost the opposite of me. You're like, I'm not militant about it, but there's rules.
Yes.
And if I'm going to help the individual, it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
They're going to put in the work. They're going to see the results, and I'm going to be there to help them when they fall, pick them back up.
Correct.
And I don't know if that's exactly what you said, but it was something like that. And I just thought about that, and I was like, here's this guy who runs his own business. He makes money by his time. Your time is money.
It is.
I know everyone's time is money, but for you, it's like truly like
Yeah.
the hour that you're in the gym training someone is how you pay your bills.
That's true.
So when you're training someone for an hour or mentoring someone for an hour that's not paying your bills, that's time you're not getting money to pay your bills.
Right.
But that's self-gratifying for you. And I've seen you do it with many kids.
Yeah.
And I say kids, 15 years old, 16 years old, young adults, but I've watched you do that. And for me, going back to the everyday GSD lifestyle, I always say getting shit done is all relative of how you're going to do it. Mm-hmm. And I think you're a perfect example of you do this while giving back, while you're also making sure you're helping others, and you're sharing your knowledge and your expertise personally through your life growth with individuals, whether a young adult, a child, or another adult that might be going through a divorce. Yeah. You're I don't want to say a counselor, because any counselor listening to this is going to be like, he's not a qualified counselor. Right. Yeah, no shit, man.
I would say / therapist.
Yeah.
Because you're going to deal with a lot.
But I wanted to recognize that for anyone listening, because I think it's important to realize that. And again, I mean, I think you're a very unique individual because I know you, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are working in the same industry as you are that aren't local to here that do similar stuff to you.
I guarantee it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think people listening, I want people to, when they're done listening to this show, to think about, how can I make my life better physically, mentally? How can I? Does that mean maybe the takeaway for someone sitting in Washington right now watching this episode walks away and goes, you know what? I want to help someone.
There we go. There's nothing more gratifying.
Right?
The thing that me, I was a small town Iowa farm boy, that I can have an effect on somebody.
Yeah.
I can make to do something with them and build something to make them change or have confidence. Shit, man, these kids could be the next president of the United States or go on to be something. Who knows?
Yeah.
The sky is the limit. Like, you just never know how you're going to touch somebody.
To reach their goals they want to reach,
man.
whatever those goals are.
Yeah, and that's, you know what, I always tell anyone, whether it be an adult or a young adult, but kind of going back to it either way, it kind of goes the same. Changing your body is kind of easy. Changing your mindset to keep your body in that space to make you feel good about yourself.
Say it again.
Changing your body is
seriously.
easy.
Everyone listen to this. This is fucking clutch.
Where the mind leads, the body will follow.
Yes.
It's so cliche, but it's
real.
So true.
It's real.
When you start believing, and it doesn't mean I believe I can bench press 200 pounds. I believe that I can be as strong as I can. I believe I can do this 10 times. This is as strong as I am, no matter what the weight is. And if you've worked with me, I change the weights all the time, and you never know. I never tell you if I give you heavy weights. Yeah. And I get your mindset not thinking about what
but
I'm
I am
doing,
a beast.
Right? But all of a sudden they do something in the little, I said 10 reps, and I'll get them talking of their mindset as they're just moving in the motion and doing it proper. They might do it 20 times, and I'm not going to stop you. And then I'll let them know what they just accomplished. And they're like, really? Well, that can't be right. No, it's actually right. It's not even, it's right. It's not right that you've been holding out on me. So again,
right?
I put that back on the person. Because you're capable. Like, what's been limits you being capable? What's been your limitation? It's your mind, or maybe somebody in the past has told you you can't do that, or you have a thought process of something that has put you down to make you believe that.
Right.
Dude, we're all capable of so much more. Sometimes it just hurts, and so I'll go again. Cliche. Growing pains are real.
Yeah.
If you've ever had chest tight, sore, back, legs, that's pain, man. But anything that you want to accomplish means there's going to be some change. Change requires growth, and growth requires pain in some form or fashion. And that might mean I'm giving up things. I'm trying things that I've never done, and I feel awkward. I feel like I don't belong. Stick with it. Right. So you'll hear me reiterate a lot of the same shit over and over.
And you're big on goals.
I'm big on goals. So I'll come back to, what was the goal? Let's go back. We wrote it down. I was like, wait, you accomplished this goal 2 months ago.
Because you know the difference between a goal and a dream, right? A plan.
Exactly right. A dream is just out here.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Dream all you want.
Yeah.
But if you want to accomplish it, and I talk about it all the time, everyday GSD, right? 6 P's: proper planning prevents piss poor performance.
I like that.
When you walk into the stockyard and you don't have a plan, what happens?
There's no growth.
There's no growth.
Yeah.
But when you walk in and you go, you know what? Today I'm going to do this, and I'm in here for an hour.
Yep.
And I'm gonna crush it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna talk to this guy. And when I leave here, I'm gonna feel motivated. I'm gonna feel dedicated, and I'm gonna feel like I'm ready to take on the fucking world.
You know, and you kind of touched on it before. It's hard to stay engaged when you're challenged.
Right.
Right. So one of my little claims to fame, and some people would not agree with my philosophy with this, but you're never going to do the same workout with me twice. Now, we might do the same movements.
Right.
The order might be different, or maybe the rep sets might be different. But we're never going to replicate the same thing twice. Now, there's so many different ways to engage, we'll call it a muscle group, in a different way, but you will know that we're doing something different, and you'll start recognizing that. And they're like, oh, I fucking hate that one. If you hate it, it means we probably need to be doing something more of it, or something so close to it that it's going to build strength in the same motion.
If you hate it because it hurts because of pain, that's different.
Right.
But if you hate it because it makes you feel uncomfortable, then you know what? Be uncomfortable. Live in the uncomfortable world so you can become comfortable.
Completely, dude.
And then once you're comfortable, do it again.
I always tell people we have 3 call signs. Pain, we avoid. Discomfort, we discuss. Burn, we embrace.
Yeah.
Because you're going in the right direction.
Can you say that one more time?
Pain, we avoid. Discomfort, we discuss. And burn, we embrace.
I love it.
101, baby.
I love it.
It never fails. And when I will say those words to somebody, it's a check to themselves.
Yes.
I don't want to do this because it burns. Burn is
Yeah.
not pain.
Yeah.
Burn is in the muscle.
Yes.
Pain is in the joint.
Yeah.
When there's pain in the joint, you will know there's a huge difference. And that might just mean, you know what, if I just think that we're burning, we can reduce some weight, but we'll do some things different to keep the muscle active, because we're not trying to go backwards. Or again, let's move to another motion, because your brain's already said this isn't working for you.
Right.
And we can replicate the same thing so close or identical, and it'll be pain-free. And I'll go, okay, well, I guess this is just more of what you need to be.
Do you do training online?
I do. I have not.
So the
tried
reason
to
I'm
venture
asking,
into
so
that.
if someone in Chicago is listening right now and they're like, you know what, I'd like to change. I want to change
Yeah.
something. Do they
So they
Yeah.
could go through the website. It's www.stockton.training.
Okay.
It's the newfangled, websites. I don't need to have a .com or anything at the end. We get, I don't know, we'll probably have an average at the most maybe 10 a year.
Okay.
But we haven't really tried to focus
But
on
someone
that market.
someone can reach out.
100%.
If they want to. Okay.
I actually enjoy doing online stuff. It's probably not, it's a little more foreign to me, if you will, as opposed to, because I like one-on-one.
Yeah,
I like
absolutely.
talking to you.
Yeah.
I know the impact, again, kind of going back to what we discussed about the gym. We do one-on-one, but like I said, if you're ever there with another client, we've also found when you have a small community of people like-minded in a goal set, not doing the exact same things, but they're like-minded because they want to achieve their goals that we've established,
Right.
replicating in that conversation, it's so positive,
Yeah.
you'll never work harder. And you probably won't even recognize that you're working harder, but the dedication to what you're doing is so much more.
I love it.
And the relationships that come out, I love it when I hear my clients go, hey, I saw so-and-so out this weekend. I was like, well, that's cool. I was like, how they doing? Great. We talked for an hour and I met their family and I met their...
Yeah.
So now we've just taken two real positive people and spread them into someone else's life who's probably going to have a conversation about to their so-and-so friend.
Right.
To help grow that community a little bit more. And it doesn't mean that they have to come to Stockton Training. It means that maybe they'll go somewhere else and get just, again, it's not about me, but if we're doing the right things,
Right.
we're just influencing other people
Right.
for positivity, man.
I love it. Well, listen, hey man, I got a little gift for you.
We got gifts.
We got gifts.
Nice.
So these are hot off the press.
Right?
This is the new Everyday GSD hat.
Sweet.
And I don't
Well,
know if
you know me, everybody knows I love
I'll
camo.
I'll get all the cameras looking at just
Yeah.
in case the producer can make sure it gets in there. But I want to give you this. Like I said, this is hot off the press.
Yeah.
Because again, truly, you're a true everyday GSD guy.
Appreciate it, man.
And before we wrap it up, and we're wrapping it up right now, I just want you to say last words. How do people reach you? How can people help support you? Because all you do in the community and around the country.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's face it. I've known you to go to Florida and help people. You're from Iowa.
Right.
You do a lot of right here in Indiana. I've had friends of mine from around the country, former military guys that used to work with me,
Mm-hmm.
and you've told them, hey, listen, here's what you need to work on.
Yeah.
This is your injury. So I know all this stuff. So how do people reach you? Email? Is it social media?
Either or. If you want to go to the website,
Okay.
it's stockton.training.
Stockton.training. We'll make sure that's somewhere maybe put in
We'll get
there.
that on there.
On there. Yeah.
You can reach me at pmstockton@hotmail.com or it's phil@stockton.training.
Okay.
And
You're on Instagram?
I'm on Instagram.
Yeah.
Stockton.training is on Instagram. Please message me there. I've had a lot of folks
What's
do
the
that
Instagram
before.
one again?
Stockton.training.
Okay, Stockton.training.
And we also have Stockton Training Grounds on Facebook.
Okay.
You know, with all the avenues, it's funny. I've had people hit me up when I'm on vacation.
Right.
And they'll come back and maybe they hit me on Instagram. And I just never know.
Right.
How serious are you? Or
Yeah.
you just like the pictures? Because I'm not great with social media, man. If anything, what I like to show on social media is we have people here getting it done.
Right.
I mean,
Absolutely.
You're not going to see a lot of
Yeah, absolutely. And at the end of the day,
butts and bras and
yeah.
stuff like, dude,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
going to be people
It's
working.
real.
And if you're going to see females in there, they're busting their ass.
They're busting their
So they
ass.
deserve to be getting shown that, hey,
Right.
I see all the time, females lift too. Like, this is not, if you have concerns about you gain muscle really fast and you don't want to get big and bulky really fast, well, I'm going to let you know you're not.
or if you're a guy and you want to trim up,
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
about the education of
Right.
laying it, how the body works, and how we're going to see, again, once we recognize we do an in-body and we see where your muscle mass and your metabolism is starting,
Right.
we can give you a really good idea for what you're wanting to achieve, a timeline.
right?
if you're doing the right things.
Right.
And we are consistent. And in a month, we should see some kind of improvement. If we see that improvement, it should get better and better. So I tell anyone 3 months is a basis to just get started to see the cornerstone of what you can achieve. But plan on getting a lifestyle that's going to take you into 6 months to a year.
I love it.
And ride the storm, man.
Well, Phil, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, and thank you for being on the show, man. I know our bartender, Jonica, I'm sure she learned a lot. And
I thought so.
Yeah, and she's done an excellent job. But no, seriously, brother, thank you. You're a good human. And I appreciate everything that you do, not only for myself, but for anyone in the fitness world or anyone that needs a mentor. If for some reason you can't reach Phil, which I think is impossible,
right?
He just gave you 25 outlets. You can always reach out to the Everyday GSD podcast. Please. Or reach out to me on social media, and I will connect you with Phil.
Love it.
Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate
buddy.
you.